Witness another big disaster. Pentangle. Oh my God, Pentangle went through craziness. Pentangle started out as a student film. The writer was in college, and if you're not familiar with the production, it was one of the first, possibly the first, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, there's question on that. Octagon kind of tipped on that kind of feeling. There's several other things, but Pentangle was really one of the unique firsts in writing history of film in the United States. It was a film where people were hunting a martial artist. So it's people hunting people. You have a group of 5 hunters and you have a ninja. And they're all going to go and try to kill the ninja while the ninja tries to kill them. And that's the basic storyline. You've seen this again in things like Surviving the Game, in things like Hard Target, and a few other films. But Pentangle is really the first one of those. Now, when we started this, it was a student production, and I had looked at the script and said, well, we need to make some changes because some of this is just a little bit too hokey for words. So we did a little bit of changing on the script, and we made the script fuller and made it more workable. Still, some of the original script actually existed within the production. Then we started getting together a cast. And we pulled people from everywhere. Some people, it was their first production. Some people came over from Japan to work on the film. And we even got in a girl from California who at that time was about a year younger than me and in high school. And she was the little sister of the guitarist of Chris Holmes of Wasp. So we brought in music as well. And the main reason she came on board is because she would contact musicians and she got the soundtrack figured out. So we had contracts with musicians who were pretty much doing this stuff for free. And we were just putting together things left and right. The entire set was pretty much a paste work. We had one person who came together and said, there's not enough stuffed heads in a hunting house. We have to do something about this. So he went out and he bought a stuffed tiger. And he cut the head off the tiger and he mounted it on a plaque and set it up on the wall. I mean, Pentangle was literally a collection of not just me loving it, everybody in the cast loving it. And loving it and putting it together is a work of love, even if it didn't work. Okay? So we really kind of enjoyed the whole process. And it also created several really strange cuts because we would sit there and we'd look up at the stuffed tiger head and burst out laughing. And it was full of things like that. We'd have a situation there, I was chained to the wall, and the chains were some sort of hokey Halloween chain that someone bought at a 5 and dime, and it kept falling off the wall. So literally at the end we had Julie Holmes just holding the chain against the wall so it would stay there long enough for the shot. And that came up with incredible silliness with, when I break these chains, crash. Those chains are terrible. Okay, we gotta get new chains on him. You know, I mean, it just came out to a variety show and everything was enjoyable and everyone was having fun. Then we started looking at it from a different perspective, and I had said, well, what's going on with this? And the director said, we got a producer to produce this. And I said, okay, who is he? And he said, he's with Penthouse Video. And I said, Penthouse Video? You did tell him this is a martial arts film, correct? And he said, yeah, he wanted to do a martial arts film. And we said, all right, okay, whatever. Well, it turns out that this producer was dating, at that point, Penthouse pet, Julie Strain. And he came on to our set and he started pointing around and telling us what to do and saying this, that, and the other thing like he was the director or something. And he told us we had to fire Julie V. Holmes and we had to put Julie Strain in the film. So the first thing that happened is I sat down with Julie Strain and we started doing a take with her. And she started going through the lines and whatnot, and she was just kind of not with it at all. And I looked at her and said, look, I don't care who you are, all right? But you're going to do your film, and you're going to do your part. Because if we have to shoot this with you, we're going to do it. And if you're not going to get into it, then we'll find somebody else. Because we know the dialogue is crap. No one watches a martial arts film for the dialogue. They watch the martial arts film for the martial arts. It's one scene, get through it. And she said, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I should never have been doing this. I was put up to this. I was told to do this. I hate this stupid. And she left us and she left him. So we went back to working with Julie V. Holmes. And the interesting thing about Pentangle, the most fantastic thing about Pentangle, is Julie Strain had shown up on the set. And I walked over to her and she said, Chris, I'd like to introduce you to someone who wants to meet you. And I said, okay. And she said, this is Tracy Lords. And I said, hello. And Tracy met me and I kissed her hand, and it was just a fun time meeting Tracy. This turned into a remarkable thing because later on, when I was working with Roger Corman, Roger had said he wanted to work with Tracy Lords. He wanted to put Tracy Lords in a real film and catapult her career into something really good that she could just do for the rest of her life. And I said, Tracy, I know Tracy. He said, what? I said, yeah, I met her on the set of Pentangle. So that's how we got Tracy and Roger Corman together to do Tracy Lords Not of This Earth. So that's the one real beneficial part of Pentangle. What happened with this is the producer said that he had had enough and he walked out and he never returned. The director said, what an idiot. The guy broke his contract, Chris. The film is yours. And I said, okay. So we finished the film and I became the producer. And I first started into what can we do with this? And I contacted people and I contacted agents and I contacted everybody. And everybody's sitting there giving me the same stupid story. You're under 18. If this film was done by someone who was 21, we would like it, we would produce it. It's done by you. You're under the age of 18. All this kind of nonsense crap. And I sat there going, it's a martial arts film, guys. Somebody in the world is going to take it. Somebody's going to want it. I don't care. So we signed a contract with HBO and we got a limited US release. It aired on HBO for, I think it was something like 3 months. I kind of forget. I didn't even have a VCR at the time. I actually didn't get a VCR until after it had finished its run on HBO. So I never actually got a copy of the film. My biggest problem when I talk about Pentangle is people want to sit there and know things. People want to sit there and say this. I haven't seen it since production. Okay? I haven't even seen the film since production. And I don't own a copy. When I had the master reel and we were finished with our thing on HBO, I had contacted several people and I said, okay, Sho, what can we do? And Sho Gasugi said, let me find out. And he contacted some people in Japan. And then I got a phone call from Toshiba EMI Artemic in Japan. And they bought the film. So right now the master reel is in Japan, even to this day. It got paired with a production that we did for then a film student in college called South American Tiger Shark Black Pearls, which was literally his study of a tiger shark. This was Jacques Cousteau's either son or grandson, and he had where was I? We had contacted. The film was being done by Jacques Cousteau's either son or grandson, I can't remember which, who was getting his degree in underwater photography. And what he wanted to do was film a tiger shark in its natural setting and show a tiger shark. But he didn't just want to film a shark swimming. He wanted to do a movie on top of it. And that's why he created the film of South American tiger shark black pearls. And when he finished his run with that, it got paired with Pentangle and went over to Japan. In Japan, it received a great deal of attention. The voice actor who did Amuro Ray in the Gundam series dubbed over me for at least part of the film. I think they've told me that some of my original voice was actually kept within the picture, and they may have kept they may even have kept an English version. I don't really know. I never really watched too much of it. And it took off in Japan. It did so well in Japan that when I was contacted in college, they were able to send 5 of my friends over from Japan to the US for 2 weeks to spend time with me. And that's the cast and crew of Bubblegum Crisis, who were in my kendo class when I was in Japan. So, I mean, it was fantastic seeing those girls again. It was just absolutely amazing. And if they're out there watching this, I'm going, hi, you know. But that was the whole gig with Pentangle. So eventually we sold the entire rights to a company in Japan, and that's where it's still today. Maybe one day, if I again get an agent and get back in the film, Japan will re-release Pentangle as a this is what he was years ago, see him again today kind of thing. And then maybe it will return to the US. But I can tell you, it probably won't return to the US if I don't return the film.